So how many of you guys are actually making projects and looking for funding? Okay, makes sense. So you guys should be talking to me separately instead of listening to this pitch.
It was not a pitch in the first part.
Okay, it's not a pitch. Um, well, Jerome is not very technical savvy, so he's gonna figure out uh, his PowerPoint presentation.
I think you would have to go without the venture next to it.
Oh my God, you took out ventures already?
Oh, I mean, I tried to, but it's just not working.
Do you know how to use computer?
I mean, I don't have any Mac, so I'm kind of lost here. This is not my regular OS.
It's not your day. Okay, how many of you guys know about ConsenSys Ventures? Wow, that's impressive. How many of you know about one or two companies which we have invested in? Okay, let's see. Which one? Nope. This is one of your questions which you should ask. Okay. Which one? Those are spokes, not from ventures. Oh, I wish I could invest in Uport. They don't want my money. Uh, I love Uport. Okay. I'm sorry? No? Another spoke? Anyone in the room? Any of the ventures portfolio companies? Guys, check TechCrunch. Okay, so I think we should start with something which you guys picked up. ConsenSys has two investment ventures model. The first one is the incubation, the innovation incubation lab, where when you come in with a great idea and a team who can actually either technically or with respect to deep knowledge in that space can execute the project, come in as a joint ventures with ConsenSys, which is like somewhere anywhere between 40 to 50% of equity is held by ConsenSys, but they bankroll the project from day zero. And the bankrolling means anything and everything. Oh, we got ventures up. He finally learned how to use laptop.
Yeah. Max. The problem is Max.
Should I continue or do you want to
No,
jump?
please, you were on your way. I mean, don't mean to interrupt or something.
Yeah, so what we do is when you start as a spoke, anything and everything from a deep rooting ecosystem support, helping you hiring engineers, building up your team, marketing, legal, token launches, everything is taken care by ConsenSys. So you can actually just focus on your product. That's what the spoke model is, which we call innovation/incubation lab. Ventures was started in 2017 September with the idea that the Ethereum ecosystem has become so big that just incubating everything inside is just virtually impossible for ConsenSys. So we still want to be part of a lot of projects around, but we do not want to be so deeply involved that we are building up the whole team with respect to hiring and providing support. So that's how ventures comes in.
How do you pick a venture or a spoke? How do you choose?
That's completely depends upon the company. That's the company. We always give them both options. If you want to just take liquidity and a strategic partnership where we can help you connect with our engineers, our thought leaders to brainstorm, but not necessarily them being on the project, go with ventures. If you just want to come, build a product, and you need all the services because you don't want to build your own company, at least for some time, and you want to focus on it, then go the spoke route.
And what are the advantages for ConsenSys? Don't they want to grow in number of people?
We are already 700 plus. We are growing crazily every day. Maybe we are already like 750 plus by today. Who knows? We are over 28 countries. The last one and the latest one is we just opened an office in India. And yeah, ConsenSys is growing.
Okay,
unmatchable.
I didn't know we had an office in India.
It was last week.
Okay, so you come from a VC background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's different from your past job compared to today's job? Being VC in the normal industry compared to being VC in the blockchain industry?
Everything is different. This industry is like a candy store. You walk in, and each and every project you look at, you just have to like figure out how to invest and what to do with the project. In a traditional VC world, you are so sector specific. You're looking for a long-term 10-year to 15-year of investment cycle. Your exit is basically if the company is going to get acquired, if the company is going to go through IPO, or there is going to be an M&A. Otherwise, your money is stuck. And now you're talking about a project where you go in and your liquidity kicks in 6 months if they are doing tokens. And even if they don't do tokens, the option of that creates a big liquid market out there. So the cycle you are looking for investment is anywhere between 6 months to 3 years.
And what is the competition?
For ventures or for
Yeah.
companies?
For ventures, for
I think every 21-year-old kid has a crypto hedge fund today. So anyone who has bought Ether at $3 or $4, $10, $20 has a fund today. I think, but that's where the consensus part comes in. Because anyone can go and open up a fund, but how many of them can actually create a strategic partnership of providing an ecosystem across the world, getting some of the core coders on the call for helping if you're stuck in something, getting the specific technical industry help if you want to expand into a particular space. I think the type of strategic partnership which we bring in for our portfolio companies is unmatchable in the venture world so far.
have you done any venture in France already?
In France?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if we have one portfolio company here, Dether. Yeah. We have Dether here, which is our first company from France.
Okay. How did it went? Like, what was the process? How did they get selected?
How did they get selected? I can't be honest now. We have founders in this in the audience. Have to be super nice. No, I think we get pitches from like pretty much like 50 to 60 companies, which makes it to my inbox, which means it already goes through like 2-3 level. So we are very fortunate the space where we are, where we get so many interesting projects all the time. The process is if the project really stands out with respect to application, that this is actually going to take the Ethereum ecosystem to a next level. It's going to make a process, anything to do with the ecosystem easier and adoptable, and the team actually has the potential to execute it, then we go with it. So in case of Ether, it's basically how do you adopt payment of Ether in the physical shops. And for me, that's the most exciting one, because if you're creating an app, and you can use that app to pay in any of Macy's or wherever you walk in using your crypto, including tokens, then you basically create the adoption at another level.
So, and for you, the exit strategy is having the Ether token listed somewhere and be able to sell those?
No, so that's not an exit strategy. That's definitely a part of building the company up, and that is not because from the valuation side, but actually if the Ether tokens are going to be in the market, there's going to be more circulation, there's going to be more usage. That's how we think. We are not one of those funds who will just take your tokens and dump it in the market after 2 months or 3 months and 8x, 20x return and out of the market. What we are actually doing is we want them to be everywhere so that there's a circulation, but we will, whenever we go towards our liquidation, which is definitely not going to happen for next year or two till the market has enough liquidity of the Ether tokens, there's enough supply to actually work with the entrepreneurs to have small batches in, which ends up making the market up instead of dumping something and taking the market down. So we work very closely with our entrepreneurs even during the time when we are exiting from the company.
And after you invested, do you sit on the board or do you use the
We
token
always
for-
take the board seat.
Okay. All right.
We are taking board seat in your company.
So when you say helping the ecosystem grow, does it mean that you do something from the regulation side, help having a better understanding from the regulation authority of what the token is, this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so Brooklyn Project. How many of you guys know about Brooklyn Project?
Oh, we're in Paris. Oh wow,
See?
wow.
You're underestimating your country, man.
Yeah, who is from France here? Yeah, everybody you know, there's a way around.
There were hands raised. Who see those women? They're actually consensus, though. So we actually, the legal team at ConsenSys have worked very closely with SEC. ConsenSys, being the leader in the space, also wanted to come up with certain standards or at least a stand on how tokens should be created, traded, invested, or bought in this ecosystem. And that's what Brooklyn Project is. And how do we create certain standards, which is what we as ConsenSys should stick to, and hopefully the market would follow. So SAFT is a complete no-no. Even if we are taking discounts, how do we really show, like, it should not be a discount because we are buying as an investor. If we are actually providing services as an advisor to a company, that's the only way we should get advisory tokens. So there's a lot of way Brooklyn Project actually details on the public sale versus private sales, or somebody has to add a value, not just liquidity to get any discounts.
Okay, so is the Brooklyn project a way for ConsenSys to keep a monopoly on the good ICOs, the good token launches?
How would that create monopoly at all? Because we actually are reducing what a lot of people are making money in, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm going in the market and buying, I'm saying we need minimum 6 months of lock-in period. We actually going and saying we will not dump your tokens, we will hold it for the longer time. That is, and while all the other investors even today are not doing lock-ins, so they have all the flexibility, we are taking onus on ourselves and saying we want to make the market. The second thing is we are saying don't give us deeper discounts if we are not really providing any services to you, and that is matched with all the services we promised.
And is it a red flag for you when someone say, come on, be the venture for my company and I will give you a discount?
Oh, that happens all the time. It's no more red anymore. It's just normal conversation. People even send us an email, say, we will, on official ConsenSys email, I've got so many emails saying, we will just transfer it to you personally, just like put your name on it. And like they don't even want to do a pitch, they just want to send tokens. They directly ask for the wallet account. So that's just the reality of this whole token craziness in this market. That is why a project like Brooklyn Project is so needed to have some sort of a sanity in the space.
Okay. Any question from the room? Yep.
Yeah. So the valuation really varies project to project. There is no standard, there is no benchmark, to be super honest. Every term sheet which we have done is unique with respect to how we have crafted. We started thinking that we're going to do equity in some, tokens and some. Over time, it evolved into equity and token combination. Now it's more evolving into how do we even value equity into tokens, even if they are not doing tokens. So it's a daily changing market. But what we really believe when we are looking at a company and really want to invest, first thing, as any VC would say, is there real use for blockchain? If there is a use for blockchain, is it actually gonna, this use is needed like in next 1 year? Or this use is needed like after 5 years? Like we can live without it, first other parts are needed. The third part is, if the team is building it, how many holes are there for this team to actually be able to do it over next 6 months to a year? Because the barrier to entry is so low. You can have somebody sitting, second year student sitting in their dorm room can come up with the competitive company in 3 months without you even knowing it. So I think if the team can quickly turn it around, at least an MVP, when are they going to hit the main net? If the team actually understand the technology part apart from the industry for which they are launching, because now you have two big sectors which has to come together. And if we come on board as ConsenSys, which is a very big brand, what do we bring on table? So based on that, we goes from one valuation to another. A lot of times we say, because we are going as a strategic partner, our valuation may be a little lower than a lot of liquidity player could give. And so we end up doing a bridge round instead of the price round. But in either cases, we always try to have a token economics on top of it, which is another ball game altogether. Because a lot of times we do pre-seed and seed. A lot of times when we go into the company, they don't even have a defined token design. So sometimes that's a good flexibility to have, and sometimes it could really mess up our valuation after the term sheets is closed. So, yeah.
Please wait for the microphone.
Hi, my name is Ish. So how do you handle a pitch which probably competes with one of your spokes or the work that you do at ConsenSys, the consulting arm? I mean, if it competes with one of your spokes or the main thing that you do at ConsenSys.
Folks, yeah. So most of the time, if let's say this ecosystem is so big that you need couple of products or couple of different way of looking at the same solution. But what we do is we go completely honest. If we see something which is directly competing with one of our spokes, we actually get both parties on the call together. And it helps us also to understand how those two are thinking on the same solution in a different way. And if we still feel after that that we are still super interested in this company, irrespective, we actually have done one of our companies, we have gone and invested in them. But we have tried to create some synergies if possible, until and unless the entrepreneur absolutely want to keep a full Chinese wall, then that's acceptable too. But so far, 95% of the situation we have seen, the Ethereum ecosystem is so collaborative and so supportive. Most of our spokes have actually come and helped these companies to go to a next level. So it's been, touch wood, it has been a good journey so far.
Please, just the
fine.
microphone is needed for the streaming, so.
Thank you. Are you looking only the companies that are extending Ethereum ecosystem or blockchain ecosystem in general? So what about other blockchains, private chains, and so on?
So we are only investing 100% in Ethereum blockchain system. I mean, there's no prizes for guessing because it's Joseph Lubine's company. But looking at, I personally, so far, every other blockchain solutions I've seen, I haven't seen the developer community or the product ready itself while comparing it to whatever we are getting in Ethereum to even be interested in it. That's the first problem which I have so far. Said that, if 3 years, 4 years down the lane, there's a big community coming from the other blockchain and the project makes sense, we may. So I won't say never, but I don't see it for next couple of years. On your second question on the off-chain solutions, we do, I mean, we all accept that Ethereum still has certain limitations. So we do look how entrepreneurs are putting off-chain solutions, on-chain solutions, and being super creative about it. The more creative they are and taking care of all the scalability issues or the gas price issues and figuring it out outside the blockchain and using blockchain for the core part of it, that actually ends up being a better solution for us and more creative. So. So I can't take their name because we are still closing. Okay, he's not happy. We have to repeat your question.
No, please repeat because the streaming guys.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, can you just give us a few names of startups that you've been impressed with off-chain solutions?
I'm not sure how much I can take the name, but a lot of startups are using like AWS and IPFS, and then they are also doing, they go through verification process, then after verification go off channel, of state channels, do all the computation and come back on the authentication side and then go towards the last node. So we are seeing a lot of very creative solutions around it. Said that, I think more and more creative solutions are going to come on. People are creating like top layers over blockchain, which not only does computation, but also is taking care of a lot of verification and then just have a unique identifier to go back on the main chain. So that's super exciting too.
Are there any specific sectors that you focus on? I saw, for example, you're involved in the Blockchain for Social Impact Coalition. There are specific ones that you that you're interested in?
Sector-wise, I have to say social impact. Vanessa is sitting right in front, who leads our social impact group at ConsenSys. I think as a portfolio, what we are creating is a big circular economy where every company can feed to and feed from. So basically the whole stack, we want to invest in everything. I am very bullish on a lot of exchanges because that also provides a lot of help and liquidity to the whole portfolio. I'm also looking for a great hardware security solutions and a software security solutions, both on the wallet side and also on the data side when you basically move off-channel, off-chain. The other thing which I am, apart from applications, like there are tons of applications, you can go on land titling, registration, health internationally. There's a lot of innovative media and publishing coming. But on the protocol layer, I have heard tons of pitches on media level, but I actually haven't worked out a single one which can do a content publishing from that protocol layer in a very innovative way, instead of just taking it and putting it on blockchain and saying now people can make money because of just the data decentralization. So I'm looking more innovation out there.
How is ConsenSys funded?
I'm sorry?
How are you funded? What is your source of fund?
How is ConsenSys funded? So far, it's all, as much as I know, is Joe's Dragon money.
Interesting. Thank you.
All the Game of Thrones lovers would get this joke, by the way. If not, then watch the TV series. That's it? Okay, we have more questions.
Thank you. So back to the blockchain for social impact question. What is your policy for, let's say, social impact businesses that are not really non-profit, but rather pursuing a social goal, and the goal is not to give money to the investors, but to impact society with metrics, like life saved, things like that? Is it interesting to you?
From the venture perspective, or ConsenSys is social impact standard? From ventures, okay. So if they have a strong social message, like for an example, low-income housing, non-fungible tokens. So you are doing it with a very strong social message, but you're still creating an economy around it, which will help not only the stakeholders who probably would need help, but also have a very good return value, then that's a perfect example for us to go. So of course, we would love those projects. And I think that's pretty much a wrap. So all the cool ideas, I do want to hear it. So I'm going to be outside. I want at least 3 awesome companies out of France. That's what Jerome promised me before I leave. So please find me outside. Thank you so much, guys.